It's now my real pleasure to introduce to you your president, who will in turn introduce our keynote speaker for this afternoon. From the Upper Midwest Minnesota chapter and the National Association of Minority Contractors, the president, please welcome Mr. Francis Onwalu.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for pronouncing my last name correctly. Just a little side note. She said, "How do you pronounce your name?" I said, "On the wall." Then she opened her notes and she wrote it the same, "on the wall." So somebody either tipped her or she knew how to do it. So thank you very much. Is everyone enjoying themselves? Again, I'll thank the Houston chapter for hosting this event. It's been very well attended and it's been very successful. So Jason and your entire board, again, my appreciation as the national outgoing president. It is my pleasure to introduce to you our guest speaker today, Dot Harris, Director of the Office of Economic Impact and Diversity at the U.S. Department of Energy. She was nominated to the position by Barack Obama and confirmed by the U.S. Senate earlier this year. Dot has over 30 years' experience in management and leadership in energy, engineering, and IT industries. And at the Department of Energy, she will focus on developing small business contracting opportunities. Dot has been president of our own firm and has served as an executive with the General Electric Company. She holds a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and a master's degree in technology management. A more detailed bio of Dot is in your program. We're thrilled to have her as our Luncheon speaker. Please join me in welcoming Dot Harris.
Hello, folks. Ooh, are you guys ready to prep yourselves up for the rest of the day? You guys, don't let this lunch really get you tired now. You know, I want to get a hold of you before you get your dessert. But listen, you guys you aren't getting any dessert. Is that what it is? Well, listen, on behalf of the President, Barack Obama, as well as the U.S. Energy Secretary, Stephen Chu, I welcome and I appreciate you guys having us here today. You know, it's all about creating jobs. That's why we're all here. It's important to me, in particular, to make sure that you hear from where some of the opportunities and how you guys can get engaged with not only with the Department of Energy, but potentially other agencies. I mean, if you were to, first of all, let me thank the outgoing president for his remarks of bringing me up, but also welcoming in your newly elected president, Ms. Gloria Sheely. And it's important to me to be here to support you, and it's one of the things that we want to get you all excited about today is just imagine, right? Imagine you guys, I mean, here we are at this point in our history with our first African-American president, but at the same time when we see energy as an industry is very critical. You know, it's a global interest now. I remember a few years back when healthcare was the buzzing industry, but now over the past few years, it's been energy. I mean, if energy touches every one of us, all of our communities. Matter of fact, have for the spending for instance, minority communities and families, probably 40% of African Americans spend on energy. Of their dollar that they make. So it's providing transportation, everything from heating their homes. So it's very important to us. And one of the goals of Secretary Chu is making sure that we make the president very happy when it comes to helping us become energy independent. So we have to really focus on addressing that. So if you were to look at where we are, imagine we are here, where energy is the top concern for the nation, for the world, and we look at where we, the Department of Energy, can support you. We are the largest civilian agency in the government. We are the second only to Department of Energy for issuing contracts. So if I'm standing talking in front of the National Minority Agency for Organization for Contracts, then you're an organization of contractors. I'm a government agency that issues the second largest amount of contracts in the government. Then there's a reason why we should be talking today. Okay. So let's hop into a few things. If we look at the background of some of the asks that the presidents have of us, I mean, he has a pretty large agenda, but one of the areas that he's having us to focus on is making sure that we develop renewable energies, we make our nation creating small businesses and creating jobs. And with the fact that at least 82% of all jobs, 80+% of all jobs in this nation are led by small businesses, then that makes it even more a reason why all of you in the room are important to our mission. Next week will make me a 2-monther in my job. I'm using that term. I'm gonna become a 2-monther soon. And in that role, but I'm not new to contracting. I'm not new to the interests of small businesses. And with the fact, when I was interviewing for this position, the president as well as Secretary Chu was interested more in my background because I have been in the private sector, and to bring that knowledge into government and have us be able to develop and grow the businesses that we should, the businesses that we're obligated to do. So one of the areas that we really are focusing in on is small business development, looking at all the socioeconomic classes that touches, women, minorities, veterans, disabled. So all of those factors and all those socioeconomic classes are areas that I'm particularly focused on. And I joined this agency because of my commitment in supporting small businesses. I know I was on the board of the American Association of Blacks in Energies, for example, and we were focusing on the growing entrepreneurs in the energy industry. And we were able to do that and 7-fold grow the entrepreneurs in that area. So when this opportunity was presented to me by Valerie Garrett, it was clear that I will now get the opportunity to do things on a national basis. So with that, it's all about us working to make sure those of you who have not been in the position to obtain some of these contracts, that's the role that I will be playing at the Department of Energy. We did over $8 billion last year in prime and subcontract contract orders with small businesses. And that is very critical for you guys to understand because it's only second to DOD in those kinds of contracts being awarded. So my question is, how many of you in the audience actually got any of that $8 billion that DOE awarded last year? You know, don't be shy, raise your hands. So that in itself is a problem. Wouldn't you? I think we have a problem here. Houston, Houston, we have a problem. And we really need to address that. It's all about growing your businesses from where they are and getting you from a small business into a general contracting size business. That's the goal, and growing more small businesses. One of the DOE's model of the way we manage our business has been that of what we call a management and operations model, where we have 17 national labs across this country, all of which are actually 16 of those 17 are actually managed by these large operation and maintenance contracts. And that puts those organizations as prime contractors. But we do, if you look at the work that we do, at least 30 to 40% of the business in DOE actually under those primes go to small businesses. it's important for us to make sure that this organization is tied in directly with our Small Business Administration team, tied into our laboratory where we have small business advocates and leaders in each of those laboratories, are tied into the connection we have with the Department of Commerce, with a lot of the minority centers that you have 4 of right here in Houston, for example. And so we want to make sure that we get you guys at the table and being able to help you develop your businesses even further. One of the areas that we are looking, with the fact that I know a lot of your companies are more construction-based, but then they're also the supporting organization and supporting services that surround that. All of that is what's important for energy. A lot of folks think of DOE and only think of scientists and a bunch of nerds running around. That's not really the case. Opportunities at DOE attracts marketing folks, everywhere from IT folks, so the full gamut, construction, large portions of our dollars are spent for general contracting, as well as all the support services for that. So what we do is clearly something that you guys should be interested in if you want to just continue to grow your businesses. We have a way to just dive in directly with you guys in supporting some of the responsibilities that we have coming up in the next couple of years. For example, the Small Business Administration, Karen Mills is the administrator for that. I've been working closely with the Deputy Administrator, Maria Johns. And one of the areas that they've challenged us in is to grow our small business percentages from overall 6% to that of 10%. And that will be a requirement for us over the next few years. So to grow a business for generating contracts for small business from a 6 to 10%, that simply equates to more jobs and even more jobs. And we really want to make sure that we have organizations like yours at the table. In order for us to do that, we have to, we plan, I was talking with Gloria earlier, to really work with your organization and identify the companies, get you guys in our database, and then pairing you up, obviously, with a lot of our prime contractors that we already have in place. One of the areas that I had a meeting this morning, a roundtable discussion with your MSIs, your minority serving institutions, with some general as well as some subcontractors. One of the things that we want to do is for you guys to look into your communities and think about partnering a lot with some of your minority serving institutions. That's another area that we actually support as part of DOE. Matter of fact, my office in particular not only covers small businesses, diversity and inclusion, civil rights and EEOC ombudsman, but we also look at the support of minority serving institutions and minority community development. It's very critical for us, for you to work with partner with your minority serving institutions. If we pair that up with working with us, DOE, the funding come in, and when you put those 3 together, that equates a very successful model. One that we can help you grow your business, help you diversify your business, but at the same time, you helping your local institutions and helping create jobs. So it's a win-win situation for everyone, and one that we all could work closely together on. If I look at you guys and ask you, to the extent that if you're content with the business model and the structure you have, or are you looking to really grow your business and actually do business with the federal government? And I know in the past that I hear that it's very difficult to do business with the government, the bureaucracy and all the paperwork, and it's a nightmare. But the model that DOE has, where these maintenance and operation prime contractors, we've had pairing up with companies like yourselves with some of those primes, for example, and business was conducted within a 2-3 week period. So that model works for you for as being quickly integrated into our business model and being able to work with our teams. So it's not typically as a long drawn out way if you were just working directly with the government. So there are a couple of options. There are a couple of ways for you to enter into partnership with DOE, either through the prime, a sub to them, or when you're working directly with us. We do have a workshop that will be conducted shortly after this luncheon. Don and Mark are here from our team, Sandia, which is one of our laboratories in New Mexico, which is one of the closest of our labs, as well as Los Alamos, two of which are the largest of the 17 laboratories within DOE. Now, if you look at the need to just support those two labs, but at the same time, even your support external or, from a long-term standpoint with even some of the other laboratories that you guys are a national organization, so I'm sure you will be close to some of our other 17 facilities. So if we look at what do we do to try to increase our energy security and develop more energy across the country, and if we look at organizations like yours that will be able to support us, I mean, that's what has to happen. And at the same time, we got to really pull our students through the process. So it's more I stand before you not only to help get more dollar signs behind your paycheck, and that's a good thing too, but at the same time, we're really looking to you to help us strengthen the pipeline for developing students into careers and bring more focus on STEM, more on the science and technology related fields. And if we could work with your companies to do that, that would allow us to cover a couple of our mission goals at the same time. You guys go work with us on that? Yeah? All right, good deal. Okay. One of the other things I wanted to bring to your attention, I was in Atlanta a few weeks ago meeting with the national mayors at an African American Black Mayors Conference. I had also spent some time recently at a number of the minority serving institutions, everything from those in New Mexico to Spelman, Morehouse, Clark, Atlanta, FAMU, Santa Fe Community College, and quite a few other schools. And we sat down a lot with the presidents of these schools, and one of the areas that they really were interested in is we'll be working with small business and a lot of general contractors like yourselves. They really want to be able to have you support and get a lot of their students through your programs and from a mentor-mentee standpoint. And we see funding in supporting that and having you help develop some new technology for your businesses. DOE has what we call a small business innovative technology program. We have a lot of technology transfer programs that we can work with all of you in helping to get a lot of technology that has already been developed. Are you aware that in a lot of these DOE laboratories, there are patents that exist, hundreds of patents that exist that have been mothballed and waiting for people like you to come in and buy those. Matter of fact, we have what we call this fire sale going on. You can probably get 3 of these for $1,000. And I think it goes on for another couple of months, but it's really, we've had a number of people go in and dust off for a number of these patents. And the beauty is DOE would also provide the support of a lot of our scientists to help you apply that and make that a commercially viable product or service, however way you've done that. And we've actually had that successfully done by a number of companies. So do look into what exists in DOE. I call it, it's been a little nugget there, I call, from an agency standpoint. People really don't understand and appreciate what exists already that you paid as taxpayers to support. So that intelligence is there, the opportunities are there, the agency is willing to even help support you in getting your commercialized a lot of that technology, and that really falls in line with what we can do to support your companies. And I was telling a few folks earlier this morning, I had a roundtable this morning with some of your schools and small and general contractors, and I Also went over and spent some time with the Houston Port Authority. Had a really good meeting with these guys, and they're telling me that their jobs, a lot of their companies that are supporting them can't bid on jobs much more because they don't have the people to support it. And they're built $5 billion, $4 billion projects that were just launched here in Houston area that I don't know if you guys are familiar with, and they need skill sets and technically trained workforce to support it. That sounds like something you guys would be interested in helping support $5 billion projects. And that's one area that we can then have you guys work with the schools and work with a lot of these minority serving institutions to help actually get that established here to support this area. And if we look at it from a national standpoint, if that's an issue here, less, in creating a bunch of jobs here locally, but even if you were to set up that responsibility here, and a lot of services and products that you have, if you've just been doing them in your backyard, you could probably branch out and do some business here in Houston, for example. So we really want to work with a lot of you to kind of scale up a lot of what you're doing. You may be a construction company now with a certain expertise that if working with us, because we have laboratories all across the country, for example, you'll be able to scale up and have different operations, a little more national focus instead of just trying to find as much business where you are locally, and that may not be very lucrative at the time, but have us work with you to be able to think a little more national focus on what you do. And that also presents an opportunity. And if we look at, too, some of the concerns that we've found with some of the small businesses, when it comes to you're looking at your business from more of a commercialization and marketing approach, other than you've done what you've done from a technical capability, but how can you expand what you do and not just look to, and that's where DOE, I've challenged a lot of the professors at these minority serving institutions. We're not necessarily just coming in and looking for engineers. We're also coming in and looking at your business department and the excellence surrounding the commercialization and marketing and that side of the equation. Because I was explaining to the folks this morning, I mean, I didn't really appreciate the marketing aspect. I've always run billion-dollar businesses for GE and Westinghouse and on the operational end, and I've managed 500-600 people running operations, but I didn't really appreciate the marketing. I call it that left side of my brain, focused on that commercialization and marketing until I had to run it's about a $3 billion industrial business for GE. And when we so a lot of small businesses, what they tend not to do is to really look at developing and doing marketing analysis to know when they do have a certain niche or product or services and have done really good analysis of where in the market, who are your potential customers, or done that real SWOT analysis of their business before they hit the street. And I found that a lot of small businesses have failed because they have failed to look at that whole marketing and the commercialization of their product or services. And that's one area we need to really focus on and have you guys work with us. So when we look at the partnership that I would like to do with your companies, with some minority serving institutions, for example, and working with DOE, we want to bring not only helping you with your technical build out, but let's look at what it takes to get your product or service or expand your business in the marketplace. And that's the spin that we'll probably look at having more of support from marketing, commercialization companies, small businesses, that we would then start bringing in the fold. Because that's the issue even at DOE, when I know the president has been challenged to say, and I know the Republicans, for example, have gotten them about not having more business-oriented folks in the government or more from the private sector who run businesses. And that was one of the areas or the attraction they had in soliciting me for this position, because it's all about turning what we're doing in the government, making it real a business sense as we go out and connect with the communities and help grow your businesses, thus growing, creating jobs, and thus making us even more energy independent and being able to, be supportive of our nation. So it's important to me that I really get the message to you guys today is that there's business in the Department of Energy. There's a business that's being let every day. And when I asked the question, how many of you have been doing business with the Department of Energy, didn't see very little, if any, hands. So that tells me we do have a problem. But the money will continually be spent. These projects will continue to grow. Like I said, we will be focusing on growing small business and working with general contractors over the next several years, focusing in not only the renewable energy space, where there's a lot of construction and support. All these, if we start looking at in the wind industry, for example, erecting all these wind farms and that whole construction around that. So will be business. Construction will be done. Retrofits will be done when we start addressing the energy efficiency issues that we have in the country, the whole weatherization support that we need. So any way you slice it, I can almost imagine or guarantee anything, any of you in the room, any product or service you have, there's some place to apply it. And I'm in my position to make sure that you get a fair seat at the table. And that's what it's all about. And it's important that you come to us with the skill set and the competency and the performance. So when we do serve you up, you get the job done. Because it's going to be important for folks like you around the room to get the job done such that when more small businesses or minority contractors come to the table, you would have paved the way. So if we really look at how we can start doing business, working with the cities, working with the mayors, and working with at the city level government, and at the same time the support that flows down from the federal government, all of you will be at the table, and we really need you at the table. I mean, these are very serious times, folks. We can't. It gets me because I was one of those people. I was one of the folks that were watching TV. 2 years ago, I was sitting at at the TV and comfortably getting bonuses from the General Electric company and having a wonderful life kind of thing and lots of perks and all that. And I'm sitting watching TV just as you are, and all the stuff happening in Washington, the need to create jobs. And when I look at where I have my whole life story to kind of get me here, there was a purpose for my coming here. And it's one of those testimonies as you look at how people are put in certain positions to help others. I am serious about my standing here. I didn't get here just by chance. And it's important to me to do my job when I walk those walls of DOE, making sure that I'm the voice for the minorities in all respects. I am the highest ranking minority female in all of DOE. And it's important to me that when So when it comes to making sure our minority serving institutions are getting the right amount of funding they should get, minority contractors like yourselves are fairly getting to the table, and it's recognized throughout agencies. I mean, it's one of those times when you come into a job, and I have no fear in this job because it's all about the fact that, I wasn't grown up through the federal government or anything like that, and when you have options, and that's what I always said about students, when you have your children and when you, a lot of the mentoring support I do even with students, when you go through high school, you take all the hard courses, the hard math, science, calculus, And that's literally what happened to me. I was in grade school, and I was planning to be an English teacher, but I skipped my senior year in school, in high school, and I was taking all the pre-calculus and physics and all that stuff, and it was because of a trip I took to the Savannah River plant, which is one of DOE's facilities now. They were talking about how engineering was opening up for young women and travel involved, all the money involved, and I literally changed my mind just like that. But I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna try that career. But I was able to do that. I literally flipped it. I was, in my junior year, which was my last year, but I was able to do that because I had taken the math, the science, and the physics and all that. The only struggle I had when I got to the University of South Carolina was when I was in the mechanical drafting course, and it scared me because you had to look at a picture, top view, side view, and I'm like, oh my goodness, and so I go in this class and these guys pulling out their T-squares and just going at it, and I never had mechanical drafting in high school, so I was one of the ones that were in the lab till 10 at night, but I got a B out of the course. But it happens. So it's all about the options. So if you look at that for kids, then I want you guys to have options when it comes to your being able to expand and grow your businesses and kind of think out of the box, because we gonna be here to help you figure that out. Because it's all about when you grow your business, you go hire more people, and when you hire more people, our communities are getting the support and development that they need, and then you become a mentor to pull up another small business. So that's a beautiful combination when that happens. So let's get serious, guys. I mean, I know you are, but what I'm saying is that our country is in a very critical state right now. Our students, we're losing them every day. I mean, when we're graduating engineers behind Russia now, that's a scary thing. I mean, we're losing our grounds. When I graduated as an engineer from college, there were only 3% women in engineering. That percent hadn't gone a whole lot since then. So we're losing ground, and we're almost I call it we got to get in a SWAT mode, because we're in deeper trouble. And when I'm in Washington now and the past couple of months, and I can see where we're losing ground from a technology base so much and so rapidly, and especially in our minority communities. It's a scary thing. It's a very scary thing. So, let's pull it up, hold on to those bootstraps, because I'm where I am for a reason. I'm here. I have no fear in what I'm gonna do to make sure I do the right thing for us. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna just kick butt and take names. It's just the way. That's just the way it's gonna be. I mean, that's the way it's gonna be. So, thank you. You guys take care. Thank you so much.
I want to thank Ms. Harris again for those wonderful comments. In the news business, we talk about a really great story is when it's news you can use. So you got inspiration and some news you can use today. If I could now bring up Jason Freeman, the Greater Houston Chapter President.
But before I do my presentation, I'd like to exercise a little bit of brief privilege to recognize a group of individuals that are in the room with us today. If you are a current National Association of Minority Contractor board member, if I can get you to please stand, please. Can we get our national board members to stand? And let's give them a round of applause for their hard work, their tireless effort. It is not possible for this conference to have taken place without the time and effort that these group of individuals have done, oftentimes behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, to really make this conference enjoyable. So thank you for your service. Well, with that being said, it is also my pleasure to present to you, Ms. Dot Harris, a plaque to demonstrate our appreciation and for your support.
I was playing around with that.
So on behalf of the National Association of Minority Contractors, it's my privilege to present to you this plaque as our appreciation for taking the time to visit our city and talk to us about the Department of Energy and how, as minority contractors, we can continue and pursue business opportunities within the Department of Energy. Thank you again.
Of course, no conference just happens, and there are many hours of planning that have gone into having a successful conference. So I hope you join me in welcoming our host chapter conference co-chair, Karen Becerra.
Good afternoon, people. How are we doing today? Are we having a great time so far? All right, all right. And Ms. Harris, wasn't she a phenomenal speaker? Let's give her another hand. She's my kind of lady. Kick, you know what, and take names later. It's my privilege to recognize the people that made this possible, the whole conference, and I'd like to tell you who these individuals are, these firms. And if you could please hold your applause till the very end. Kaiser Permanente, Bryant Air Ray Services, Gilbane Building Company, Port of Houston Authority, CBIC, Four City Steel, Hallmark Group, LLC, Houston First, Inc., Laser Construction, Southwest Gas Corporation, Capital City Associates, Inc., City of Houston Airport System, and the City of Houston's Mayor's Office of Business Opportunity, my good friend Carlicia. Those C's get in the way. Comfort Systems, Inc., EGM, Inc., Integrity Bank, J.E. Dunn Construction, Landers Enterprise, Metro, HRT, Morganti, Neil Hooper and Baines, PC, PMG Project Management Group, LLC, Swinnerton Builders, Inc., the Principal Partnering Group, LLC, Turner Construction, Warrior Electric, Skanska, EDH, Elias Commercial Roofing Systems, Casati Construction, UT Systems Office of Historic Underlies Business, NASA Johnson Space Center, the MGM Grand, Mortensen Construction, Turner Construction, and Walt Disney Park and Resorts. And if you could give these people a big hand, it would not for them, we would not be able to have this conference. Thank you so much.